Greetings, BArcadians, and welcome to another edition of the BA Gaming News Show with your hosts, me, Tabs, and my good friend and gaming compadre, Rich. Say hello, Rich.
Hello.
Happy New Year, everybody. We should say that first of all. Hopefully everybody's getting back into the rhythm of their various responsibilities after the Christmas holiday break. We've got some topics for you today. It's not been a massive news week. I think Rich was actually a bit worried, although there has been a couple of bits that have popped out in the last couple of days just to rescue the show this week. So we're looking forward to getting into that with you. Before we do that though, Rich, as ever, let's talk about what we've mostly been playing in the last week. And can you kick us off, please, sir?
Yeah. So the elephant in the room this end is that I haven't played a game this week.
Oh, shame on you.
I know, very bad.
Call yourself a gaming YouTuber.
I know, shocking. To be honest, it's one of those weeks where you've got Christmas decorations to put down, you're back at work, long days at work, bit of DIY around the house. There's just no time to game in my world. So yeah, felt a bit flat that I've not been able to game, but that's the nature of the beast, unfortunately. But yeah, we have got some good gaming planned. I think we're going to possibly jump on with Monster Hunter Rise, possibly tomorrow. More on that in a bit. And then definitely we think we're going to play Demon Souls at the weekend, aren't we, Tabs? We're going to do like a dual play on that, aren't we? But yeah. So.
Yeah, we're going to basically try and do like a fully concurrent playthrough. So no like time in between where we're playing it on our own. We're going to only play it together, which means it will be drawn out a lot longer, but should be interesting.
Definitely.
Maybe we'll sneak a couple of bits for the channel if we feel like it as well.
Definitely. And what about you, Tabs? What have you been playing?
Yeah, so for me this week, finished Cyberpunk 2077. I can't remember if I said I'd finished it last week or not. But I'd taken it through past the point of no return. I've considered going back and dusting up the side missions and the bits and pieces in the open world, but to be honest, it's just not. It's not pulling me back into it. I don't have that kind of itch to get back to it. So I think for now, I'll let it get fixed. I'll let it. Hopefully, maybe they'll even add more to it and make it a much better game than what it is at the moment. And maybe I'll replay it at some point, or if there's a new game plus. So instead, I was actually drawn back to Hades a little bit this week. Completed that, credits have rolled. But there is still so much, well, not so much more, but there's quite a bit more little story and some end game stuff I can dust up on it. And I started playing it and I had that zest to play it again. It's such an addictive game in that way. And whereas before I've mastered certain weapons in it, well, actually pretty much just one, it was the rail. I've now actually really been broadening my horizons and trying all the weapons, and I've only got to complete it now with one weapon to have done it with all of them.
Cool.
So yeah, chuffed with that. But like as you say, Rich, we've got some stuff to talk about. Demon Souls, especially on the weekend, and Monster Hunter Rise demo, which will come too soon. So without further banging on, sir, shall I push us on?
Take us away.
So first topic this week is Cyberpunk loses active players. Not my best headline on that occasion, Rich. But it says what it is. So this was courtesy of NME, and this is what they had to say. This is according to a new analysis from video game statistics website GitHip, which shows that the game's player base declined to 225,000 players a day on Steam from its peak of over 1 million concurrent players. In comparison, CD Projekt Red's last release, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, retained over half its player base a month after its launch in May 2015. However, the report also said that the 79% drop is typical of most single-player games, which usually lose the same percentage or more of its player base, whilst noting, however, that open-world games are usually an exception to that rule. GitHip also pointed out that CD Projekt Red has a proven track record of fixing their games on PC post-launch, saying that it's one of the reasons the game still maintains a positive average score on Steam. Despite the controversies over Cyberpunk 2077 and the loss of its player base, the game has continued to sell well on Steam. According to PC Games N, the game has remained the top-selling game on Steam since the week ending November the 22nd. So, Rich, what do you make of that, my friend? They kind of say it's sort of a trend that's borne out in single-player games, but open-world games do tend to retain more of their active player base. So what do you make of it?
I mean, the one thing I would say is, from everything that we've seen in the media, everything that CD Projekt Red have said, things that Sony have maybe done, Xbox have maybe done, or Microsoft should I say, it's like they don't want us to play the game just yet. You know, Sony removing it from the store, asking people if they want refunds, saying, bear with us, we'll fix the game. That suggests to me that people, you know, that almost like encourages people to put the game down and then come back to it in a couple of months' time when we fixed it all, and it'll be a better experience. So given that people were sort of, that was the suggestion in all of the media, it doesn't really surprise me that lots of people have gone, I'll wait for a month on this. So I don't find that massively surprising. I don't know. What do you make of this?
No, I tend to agree. I mean, they still think they've sold 13 million, and then seemingly if it's at the top of the Steam charts, well, then that number must be rising. So are people just buying it and just to leave it there until it matures? But yeah, I think, I mean, I've just said it there at the start, haven't I, Rich, saying that I don't really have the compulsion to go back to Cyberpunk post-completion, even though there's plenty of side content. There's stuff to do. It's just very much busy work.
Well, I think that's the problem. That's why you don't want to go back to it, isn't it? The side missions are boring. If they were entertaining set pieces, or, you know, it was convoluted stories that would take you down, you know, paths that you wouldn't have gone down on the main story missions, then that you would have a compulsion to see the rest of the world. But like you say, because it's busy work, you don't have that compulsion to replay it. Maybe that's the thing. A lot of people have completed the main story, which it sounds like, I know you've sort of held back from getting into the story, but one of our other friends who's playing Cyberpunk has said you can go, you know, quite quickly with the story missions. You can really rattle through them. So maybe people have rattled through the story and have just put it down and don't want to do the side missions. I don't know.
Well, I had 70, 80 hours with it, which is pretty good innings for most games, so I can't really complain. But yeah, that being said, The Witcher 3, for example, I think I could have easily played into 150 plus hours, especially with the DLC. So I think there is something to be said that the depth and the breadth and the scale of this Cyberpunk 2077, as we've said in the review and the discussion we've just released, Rich, is compromised. And this is perhaps a symptom of that. But either way, fingers crossed, it does become a lot closer to the game we hoped it was. Hoped it would become. But Rich, move us on to topic number 2.
Absolutely, and you may have heard us in the top of the show talk about Monster Hunter Rise. Well, a Monster Hunter Rise trailer has arose. And this comes from Polygon. Demo for Monster Hunter Rise, the upcoming Nintendo Switch exclusive, will be released Thursday night, so that's today or yesterday if you're watching this. Capcom announced in a live stream this morning. The company also revealed details about the free demo, showing off new and fan-favourite monsters like Tigrex, and revealed a feature called Wyvern Riding, which is exactly what it sounds like. After a short trailer, the stream opened with a showcase of one of the game's locations. Monster Hunter Rise will take players to a new area called the Frost Islands, an icy locale with underground caverns and frozen waterways. The demo for Monster Hunter Rise, which will be available through to January the 31st, will feature multiple missions. 2 training missions, including one all about Wyvern Riding, will be available alongside hunts for 2 different monsters, including Izuchi and Mizutsune. The demo will also include online play, and there's a chance for players to test out all 14 Monster Hunter weapon types to see how they've changed in Rise. So quite a lot of detail here. We've saw new game mechanics, we've seen an area, and we're blessed with the incredible news that we are getting a demo straight away, which I think we already have plans to play tomorrow, hopefully, fingers crossed, with 2 of our friends.
Yeah, this is it, mate. I mean, I don't know. We're not too sure. I've checked the store. It's not out yet. And I've seen one publication say it could be tomorrow in the UK, so Friday, not Thursday. Or you suggested it might be 11 p.m. tonight, depending on timings. But yeah, suffice to say, I did watch this trailer through. They do really good stuff, the Monster Hunter team. I really appreciate the way their footage, they go into a lot of detail. And in this, it was like an initial trailer, which was very flashy, a nice show reel. And then they kind of drilled down a bit more into the detail. I just love, you know, if all announcement trailers were like this, you know, that you wouldn't go too far wrong. But yeah, I mean, suffice to say, we loved World, and it looks like it just takes a lot of the best bits from World and builds on them. All that old kind of trusted formula and gameplay loop doesn't become stale. A bit like in World, Rich, when they, what do you call it again when you get them to crash into the walls in World? I forget what you call it.
Oh, yeah, I can't think what it is.
But they introduced that in the DLC for, is it Iceborne?
Yes.
And that really kind of gave the gameplay a bit of a fresh take and gave you another kind of tool in your arsenal to take these monsters down. And this riding sounds like it's going to be that again. So, and a really kind of fun mechanic to actually straddle these big beasts and turn them against each other.
It was really cool in this as well, because they actually showed the hunter like on a dragon, a full-on flying dragon. I thought when I first saw the clip of it, I thought it would just be riding, like on the ground, four-legged monsters, but it seems flying monsters as well. So yeah, it's exciting. Again, a new mechanic that we can get to grips with, utilise in battle. So it'd be really cool.
And we've got the Palamutes, the kind of the dog companions. We've got the Palicos, the cat companions back. All of these weapons, which brilliantly we get to sample in the demo, and I think there's online and local multiplayer. So yeah, I'm super jazzed. Is probably the word for Monster Hunter Rise, and I think they're doing a fantastic job of garnering attention around it as well. So credit to you, Capcom. I'm just
reading as well on this. Apparently, the hunts in the demo will be can only be played a total of 30 times.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they are going to cap it off, so it won't be an indefinite amount of time on the demo. So, although 30 hunts, if the hunts do take a while, especially while leveling up, because when you start, I mean, me and you, when we started Monster Hunter World, we took like 40, 45 minutes to kill some monsters, didn't we?
Well, this is it. But yeah, I mean, that's plenty to get your teeth into.
100%.
At the same time, I understand they got to put a limit on it because they want you to buy the main game and not get bored and tedium to creep in with it.
I wonder whether they're going to allow you to move your character across the full game once it comes out. There's no
that is
announcement.
Interesting. I from what we've heard, because of the structure of it, you're getting these kind of 2 missions and tutorials. I would suggest not. But
agreed.
It would be fantastic if they did that.
Definitely.
Either way, can't wait. Something to look forward to on the weekend.
Absolutely.
Shall I move us on, sir?
Go for it, buddy.
Keep calling you sir. Don't know why.
It's the hierarchy.
The hierarchy. Right then. So, third story this week, we've got Switch Pro Data Mined. So essentially, this comes courtesy of DualShockers. This was quite an exciting one. I think this was in the last few hours I heard about this, which I was pleased about. So, the report comes from prolific data miner Cyrus M, via a Reset Era thread, and contains information regarding the new console's display, battery life, and dock, as well as claims that the new console has a code name, Aula, I'll go for. So Cyrus M, let's go with that, says of the prospective new Switch Pro that he believes it's a 4K, given the signs I'm seeing in the firmware, adding that it's not confirmed yet and could be wrong. Regarding the console's display, he states that the tablet itself definitely has an upgraded display, before adding the upgraded tablet display is an OLED screen. While the new model will reportedly use an OLED screen, the tablet's resolution is likely to be the same, with the 4K support coming from a 4K Realtek chip within a new dock. This would allow the console to output 4K in docked mode rather than handheld. The reported data mine also suggested the new console will have substantially better battery life and cooling. Cyrus M also speculates that the games will be like DSi enhanced games were, or like how some games benefited from PS4 Pro despite working on PS4. While this definitely looks promising, at this point it's purely a rumour and speculation, and as with all rumours, this should definitely be taken with a pinch of salt. So, a lot to be excited for here, Rich. I think whilst it sounds like the chip itself is still this Tegra X1 kind of Marico plus chip, whatever it is, and that's slightly disappointing for me. Well, it does sound like we're going to get an OLED screen, and I would really hope that they push that to 1080p output on the portable mode. And they say here about better battery life and cooling. Well, surely that's going to be a consequence of this OLED technology, which we know is much better on battery life, and won't require as much power. Therefore, surely cooling is going to be cooler as well because of that, which might give them a bit more headway in making the most of the chip itself by, overclocking. They've messed with that in the past already. So if it's cooler, they might have a bit more headroom as well to unlock a bit more of the potential of the chip. But what do you think, my friend? Are you excited by this?
It's really interesting because I would have said, and we spoke at length because the Switch Pro rumours just won't go away. So we spoke at length on numerous times about this. And one of the things I specifically have said, I don't think it will have an OLED, just because I don't think they'll want to go to that price point. So it's really, really exciting that the rumour is now that it will have an OLED. And I agree with Tabs. It will help on so many levels with, both power and heating, which, like you say, could open up the realms for some slightly more overclock. And it's interesting about the dock, actually, because we've spoken before, and I know we possibly disagree that while docked, the current Switch model actually has a slight boost when it's docked. I disagree with that. I don't see any difference when it's docked. But it does sound like that is definitely going to be a thing, and that's how they're going to make it. It'll be like plugging it into like a graphics accelerator, I guess, that kind of thing when it's docked. So I think this is really, really good news, and I think this is to the point where you think actually it's worth an upgrade.
It's not hearsay, mate. It does get a clock boost when it's docked. But apparently, well, no, not apparently. It's mostly because I think, mate, that it will kind of default to a better resolution when it's docked. Generally, I think 1080p, although obviously it does use a lot of dynamic resolution scaling. So that's probably why it kind of negates the clock boost, because it's actually outputting at a higher resolution anyway. But yeah.
I mean, all I'm saying on that one is it doesn't look any different when it's on the little screen or on the big screen. But I agree with what you're saying.
In some cases, you'll actually see performance suffer on docked. You remember Breath of the Wild, I think, used to actually struggle a bit more when docked compared to when you play it with handheld. But again, that's just to do with optimization, some of the things they scale back in portable modes. But the only thing I would say, mate, that I really hope, it's not mentioned here, but I really hope they put some more memory in it. I think for it to keep up with, to have any hope of porting some of the more modern games, and especially for your bigger open world games, it needs some more memory. And I think that has been a criticism from many developers as well. So I hope they double the memory along with all this, even if they do keep the same Tegra X1 chip in there. I mean, from everything said here, if this turns out to be true, I think I would definitely buy one.
Yeah, I think I'd be on that as well, to be fair. Especially when we know there's some games coming. I personally think 2020 was not the great year for Nintendo in terms of new IP, but certainly coming up this year, there's some great IP coming. We're going to see Breath of the Wild 2. Really excited for that. And if that's like get this Switch Pro, we'll call it for now. If that's like get that for Breath of the Wild 2, that's justifying the purchase. So yeah, I'm if it's as good as this, I'm all in on this.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, there is a big feeling in the industry that Nintendo need to bounce back pretty hard this year from a bit of a middling year last year. So, this would be the perfect platform to do that with. But Rich, we did have a fourth story. However, I'm guessing we're probably quite close on time. Should we skip across to everything else?
Sounds good, my friend. So I'll kick us off once I've changed the graphic, obviously. So God of War Ragnarok will launch on PS4 and PS5, claims former series director. Very interesting. We've heard rumours about that before. Sounding like that's sort of confirmed now. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I don't mind it if we see something along the lines of, Spider-Man Miles Morales, which used seemingly the old game engine, but built on it and bolted on a few new flashy things like ray tracing. And I think they did rebuild a lot of the assets in certain scenes on that. Then I'd be happy with that. And it sounds like we might see that across Horizon, Forbidden West, and God of War Ragnarok, as you point out here. I mean, I'm still really excited for when games are actually going to be custom built on the PS5
Agreed.
platform and how much different they're going to be. But certainly, you can't moan at the likes of Spider-Man Miles Morales.
No.
Next up, we've got the Xbox Series X controller. Disconnects will be addressed in an upcoming update. I don't know anything about that one, Rich. Issues, are there?
Yeah, I think we're having some issues where you'll just be playing and it just completely disconnects from the console, and then you have to try and reconnect it, which obviously is not great while playing a game. But I think they are going to sort that in the next update, so that's cool.
To bolt onto that, mate, just while we're on it,
go for it.
I did see a news piece that apparently in a recent survey that Microsoft put out, they're asking Xbox Series players, I think, if they'd like to see Sony's DualSense kind of some of those features brought to their platform, which I thought was quite an interesting little tidbit there.
I mean, no one's going to say no to that, surely. No one's going to think, I don't want some next-gen technology in my controller. No one's going to say no to that.
It's a big selling point, and hopefully they will, although we also need to see if Sony's implementation of the technology bears out kind of over time, because I've already heard a few reports of controllers breaking. So we will need to see. But move us on.
Absolutely. Sony have started to cease production of several PS4 models in Japan, and I'm guessing ramp up the PS5 productions, in accordance.
Makes sense. The Last Guardian developer Gen Design teases art for its next game. So we were just discussing before, but I think they showed previously Eco, Shadow of the Colossus, and The Last Guardian, and there was this mysterious other piece of art which I need to check out as soon as the news finishes.
So this comes in the way of a greetings card, and as Tabs mentioned, running across with 4 pictures in the sort of 2021 sort of like lettering or numbering, I guess, and 3 pictures as Tabs mentioned, and the 4th one unknown. We don't know what it is, so very, very interested about that, especially if it's a PS5 exclusive and it's ground up to the PS5. Very excited.
Fab. And finish us off, Rich.
And finally, this will be a lot of joy to Tabs' ears, so he can get back to it. But there's going to be expect for some free Cyberpunk 2077 DLC in early 2021.
Cool, yeah. I mean, that's a good thing, isn't it? Free DLC / we're finishing the game properly.
Well, the thing is, if they add some new missions and stuff, then I'm guessing you would go back to it. At the moment, you have no desire to go back to it. Hades has taken its place for now, but I'm sure if they add some new content, you would go back to it.
I do feel like the more I thought about it, like they could add enough piecemeal to it to actually get it very close to the game we hoped it would be. The problem is, I don't know how I feel about that, because I've plumbed in 80 hours into a playthrough.
Yeah.
And the experience is going to be potentially transformed if I'd have just waited. So again, I've essentially played an early access game that was a fraction of itself, of its final form.
Yeah, in essence.
A strange one. But we'll stop banging on about Cyberpunk. We can talk for days on that subject. Thank you, BArcadians, for tuning in this week. I hope you enjoyed the BA Gaming News Show. As always, every Friday at 5 p.m. Make sure you subscribed. Make sure you smash that bell button to stay abreast of everything we put out into the world. And yeah, please give us a like, share it if you can, just to help us break through that algorithm and get some, what's the word I'm looking for, Rich?
Traction.
Publicity.
Yeah, basically.
We want to expand the channel this year, 2021, if we can, and we need your help to do it.
Absolutely.
So, with that being said, we'll see you next week. Keep gaming, have a great one, and I think that's another one for the archives.
Stamped and completed.